mean, the TCPA is the biggest golden goose in the history of the plaintiff's bar. You've had more millionaire plaintiff's lawyers made under the TCPA than anything else. And it's because there's a $500 minimum per call violation penalty that is assessed. So if you violate the TCPA or the FTSA, I almost called it FTSA, which you're giving me FTSA, or the FTSA, it's $500 minimum. And if you make 1,000 calls, just 1,000. That's $500,000 in minimum fines. And of course, you make more than 1,000 calls, you make 1,000,000 calls, you make millions of calls. So, my case is we defend these things in federal court. Class actions are permitted. They go back 4 years. So ask yourself, how many calls do you make in a 4-year period? You better make sure that you're doing it legally and lawfully, because if you're not, the minimum penalty is $500 for every single one of those calls. So virtually every case that I handle is a bet the company case with billions of dollars on the line, and you just can't afford to lose, which is why we say deserve to win, right? Like, you got to have top quality counsel to protect you in these cases. But set the litigation aside, right? What you're worried about is compliance. And the other piece that you're mentioning, Brad, is personal liability. Okay, so the exposure is $500 per call, right? That violates the statute. So millions or billions of dollars. I mean, it's just monopoly money at some point. But the really kind of, I think, gruesome, kind of really terribly unfair part of the TCPA that does get overlooked from time to time is that there's personal liability available. Now, in 99% of contexts, if you do something on behalf of your employer and it turns out to be illegal, you're not going to be sued yourself, right? The Chevron guys that dump a bunch of oil. I'm just picking on Chevron. I don't know why. I'm not saying they actually did this, but okay, some oil company dumps a bunch of oil into the ocean and kills an entire ecosystem. Maybe the company gets fined these days, maybe. But the executives aren't getting hammered. The guy that's out there working the spout certainly isn't going to be personally named in a lawsuit and have to pay millions of dollars, right? That's not how it works. But under the TCPA, that's exactly how it works. If you're just the lonely call center operator that picks up the phone and makes an outbound call and that turns out to be illegal, you can be sued. If you are the compliance manager who's responsible for overseeing compliance for a call center, you can be sued yourself personally. If you're the manager of the call center that put together the dialing list, you can be sued personally. If you're the CEO of a company and it's your idea to try to do a new outreach mechanism and it has to do with making phone calls and it turns out that they're illegal, the CEO can be personally sued. It's nuts. It's like one of the most unfair rules in all of the law, but that is the TCPA world. It is the roughest, toughest place to play that exists in the legal world, which is why I like it so much. But the truth is, I mean, the exposure could not be higher, the risk could not be higher, and it's not just on the company, it's on every single individual that's involved.